Hi, this is a podcast about understanding counseling and how it works in everyday life. In this episode, we'll explore why reassurance can feel relieving in the moment, yet often fails to settle things for very long. Reassurance is one of the most common ways people try to calm uncertainty. A quick message, a clear answer, a simple confirmation that things are okay. When reassurance arrives, the body often relaxes. Breathing softens. Attention widens again. For a short time, things feel steadier. That relief is real. It's not imagined or misplaced. What's less obvious is why the relief fades. Hours later, sometimes minutes later, the same questions return. The mind starts scanning again. Another check feels necessary. Another confirmation would help. This can be confusing, especially when reassurance has already been given. The reason reassurance doesn't last is not because it's ineffective, it's because reassurance answers a surface question while leaving the underlying uncertainty untouched. It tells you that things are okay right now, but it doesn't change how your system relates to uncertainty itself. In close relationships, this is especially noticeable. Reassurance often restores a sense of closeness. It signals availability. It brings alignment back into focus. When the alignment feels secure, the system settles. But as soon as there's another pause, another delay, or another moment of ambiguity, the same activation returns. The reassurance hasn't failed, it has simply done what it can do. Most people respond to this by increasing the frequency of reassurance, asking sooner, checking more often, looking for stronger confirmation. Each step brings brief relief, but also reinforces the idea that uncertainty must be resolved immediately. Over time, this can make waiting feel harder rather than easier. You might notice this in everyday situations, wanting to double check a plan even after it's confirmed, feeling unsettled until you hear back, even when there's no reason to worry. Reassurance becomes a way of keeping discomfort at bay rather than learning to sit with it. This isn't a flaw, it's a learned response. When reassurance works once, the system remembers. It learns that relief comes from outside confirmation. Naturally, it looks for that again. The difficulty is that life constantly introduces new uncertainties. No amount of reassurance can remove all of them. When reassurance becomes the primary way of managing uncertainty, the system stays dependent on it. Counseling helps people understand this by shifting the focus. Instead of asking how to get more reassurance, the work becomes about how uncertainty is being experienced. What does waiting activate? What does reassurance temporarily quiet? What remains underneath? When people see reassurance as a short-term regulator rather than a solution, their relationship with it often changes. They don't have to stop seeking reassurance, they simply stop expecting it to settle everything. The change is subtle but important. It reduces the urgency around reassurance. The need becomes clearer and less consuming. Waiting becomes more tolerable, not because it feels pleasant, but because it's no longer treated as a problem to eliminate. Over time, people often notice that reassurance arrives and leaves without pulling them into a cycle. The system becomes less reactive to gaps. The mind doesn't have to work as hard to stay settled. This doesn't mean attachment needs disappear. It means they're held differently, with more space, with less pressure. In the next episode, we'll keep going and look at how people begin to respond differently to uncertainty over time and what shifts when reassurance is no longer the main strategy.